Welcome to the Underbelly Podcast, brought to you by Clarity Financial, as we peek underneath, poke around, and expose the unexposed stories of the week about finance, economics, politics, and life. I'm Brent Clanton, executive producer of The Lance Roberts Show and The Real Investment Hour. We wanted to create a forum for exchanging stories, ideas, and anecdotes that deserve more in-depth, unfiltered conversations, plus allow you a glimpse behind the scenes. As always, we welcome your feedback. Find us on Facebook or online at realinvestmentadvice.com. Now, let's step inside the studio for the Underbelly Podcast, starting now. And we're back after a one-week hiatus. Lance Roberts is still on vacation. Richard was traveling. I was having surgery. John was working away by himself, I guess. Anyway, thanks for joining us this afternoon. Richard and John Coumarianos, and we have a special guest, Ann Marie Vancas, that we'll tell you all about. But first, we kind of want to get rolling with what's happening today.
Go ahead, John, because I'm puzzled.
Okay, the markets, I see the Dow's down 138. The NASDAQ is down as well, and the S&P is down about, almost 0.75%. Markets are up for the year. S&P is up about 6% for the year, maybe a little more than that. Bonds are back down to almost 2%, and REITs are flat for the year. So they've rebounded, as we've said, from a 10% or so loss. I guess the big news today, although you would know it from looking at the markets, is that GDP was up in the second quarter 4%. Wall Street Journal has an article and a breakdown of those numbers. A big part of that was consumer spending, which accounted for 1.5 percentage points of that. Actually, I take that 2.5 percentage points if you count services and goods together. Trade counted for another 1%. Business investment, another 1%. Other miscellaneous things took it up all the way to 5%, but then the change in inventories took it down 1 percentage point to 4% overall. Pretty strong number. Hard to argue with that, although you wonder how much, as we were discussing, how much of that is debt-fueled and how much of that is due just to higher prices for fuel and other things, rent.
Healthcare.
Well, the bond market's telling you that this might be the peak of things as well.
Yeah. So 10-year yield is down slightly. We're at 2.958, according to MarketWatch, on the U.S. 10-year Treasury.
Amazingly, inflation came in more muted than expected. So I thought that would be actually the one area markets would focus on to be more positive. But I think, the whole tech sector is putting a kibosh on some of this, right? With Intel's earnings. So seeing the role of Twitter is obviously having a bad day. So you're starting to see tech lose its leadership. Even though it's got a long way to go, it's just that there is a break
so
that sector here. And that sector sets a lot of psychology up.
Yeah, it sets the tone for the markets for a long time now.
It's been setting the tone. So you're seeing more rotation today into the defensive areas like staples. So food and beverage, utilities, and so forth. So you have companies like Clorox up a couple of bucks today.
Yeah, so just to recap for the week in tech, we had Facebook debacle down 20% 2 days ago, yesterday rather, and then followed by Twitter, and then Intel as well. So the social media is hurting badly, and then throw Intel in there.
And you would think that maybe if this is the peak, you might see a more formidable rotation into the staples and the boring stuff, as they call it. We started to put money into staples a couple of weeks ago, figuring they got washed out. But even companies like Netflix today, Apple, I mean, there's nothing being spared today when it comes to tech. And tech, again, has set the psychology across the board. But again, even some financials are getting beat up too. But anything that's more cyclically related is sort of losing its luster today, except for energy.
Well, and was this an inevitable fallback that these tech stocks were going to have, especially in the social media realm, because of what was going on? And
they've been leading, and they've been momentum stocks, right? We're seeing less breadth on the S&P on the way up, so and we have fewer companies that are adding exposure to the upside. So you just don't know what the catalyst is. Like we always talk about, John and I and Lance, we always talk about that, the fact that stocks are, domestic stocks are expensive, But again, it's also based on the demand for the stocks. It's a horrible short-term indicator, so you don't know what the actual trigger is to cause that rotation. But the one thing that we see is when those rotations happen from sector to sector, they are fierce.
They're fierce and they're fast. So
they
you have
fast.
To be ready. I mean, so it looks like you want to say that fundamentals now maybe are starting to assert themselves with Facebook. It was a revenue decline.
Yes.
The decline itself was slight, but it's the fact that the company guided analysts saying future revenues would decrease from here or not increase at the current clip. So that may be the fundamentals of the business catching up to the stock price in a way.
Well, that's part of a conversation that Ann Marie and I had before we all got on here this morning.
did?
And we'll introduce her in just a minute. But the bot issue with Facebook and all of these social media groups and these computers that go out and do what they're doing. And what that has done is it has inflated the eyeballs that are being seen. So is this the beginning
I hate inflated eyeballs.
Yeah. Glaucoma.
Is that like glaucoma?
Yeah.
It's like thyroid issue.
Digital glaucoma. So is
Like
this...
You ever that little
like your
squeezy
chihuahuas.
toy as a kid? You squeeze it
Yes.
and the eyes pop out?
Yeah.
I'll use that
I've
for my
got one of
profile
those.
pic. Yeah.
Still have that? She disturbs
So
me.
is this the beginning of the washing out of that phenomenon? And is that a healthy washing out for these companies?
If you're a fundamental investor like I fancy myself, then it is. You want to make sure that you're placing your bet on a company for the right reasons, and that is, do the economics justify the price?
Well, there's going to be a point as the Fed continues to increase rates that you shift, I think, from a momentum-based market to much more back to what we remember years ago.
Yep.
Fundamentals, right? When you actually look at companies, and although I don't think most brokers understand the difference between a cash flow statement and anything else, but the point is that you start to transition. I think this whole GDP report was a sell on the news. It was good news. We expected it. And it looks to me like they're saying, well, now try to beat this number. This might be the best that we'll see this year, so we'll sell off on this news. And there are a heck of a lot of profits in the tech sector to take.
Well, how much of a lag time is there going to be between today's news and when the guys get a chance to look at the numbers and chew on what's really underneath there?
Well, you do have a lot of analysts right now that are just going back to the drawing board just to figure out what GDP is going to be because of the revisions based on what's happened. Usually first quarter GDP is seasonally weak.
Right.
So now they've worked on those numbers to change that, but now they have to go back and sort of recalculate as well. But this sector rotation to me is just the fact is, Intel and some of these companies just set the tone negatively, and there are just a lot of profits.
Yeah.
There've been better values in staples, and that's where the money's been going.
Yeah.
So just shows you that having some form of because overall the market's positively trending.
Yeah.
Diversification works on the way up because I can own, I call it ketchup and oil. I can own my Heinz and I can own Exxon, and maybe today my Heinz is up, my Kraft Heinz is up, and my Exxon is down today.
Yeah.
I am getting diversification. The problem is when you go into a bear market, they pretty much all go down at the same time.
Yeah.
Except at different, one might fall off a cliff, one might roll down a hill.
Yeah.
It's just different. Although Amazon is bucking the trend today, let's just say that.
Right.
As usual.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're the 500-pound gorilla.
Only 500 pounds? I think you're underestimating that gorilla there, buddy.
5 billion pounds? Yeah. You want to introduce our guest?
Sure. So, Ann Marie, I got to figure out. I've known her so long, but I don't know anything about her. No.
Oh, man.
No, the reason I asked Ann Marie on is I don't understand art. Okay, I went to the Museum of Modern Art and my mouth was so agape. I think there was a family of locusts in there. There's a chair in the middle of the room and a bowling ball, and everybody is going, "Oh, that means this is man's plight in the universe." And I'm like, "No, it's a bowling ball and a wooden chair."
Did you sit in the chair?
No, I wanted to. You're not allowed to. It had all those velvet ropes around it.
They sort of frown on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, go on.
But so, my art is Western art, and I don't understand art. So, and when I go to MoMA, I shake my head a lot. People think I have some sort of palsy or something. But Ann Marie's art is very bright. It reminds me of who is that artist from the Peter Max?
Peter
Remember
Max.
Peter Max had all these vivid. I loved
yeah.
Peter Max as a kid. I would actually buy at the local convenience store. They actually would have his paintings in a pencil by number. But his stuff always just made me smile.
That's not how he did that.
He probably was on acid or something.
Well, what are you on? Because I was just going to compare you to him. So I don't know what Ann Marie's on, but her art's very bright, and she's got messages in there somewhere. There's a lot of nipples and stuff. I don't know what that means, but but for the most part, it's really. I mean, I like I like it. So, and we talked about art as an investment because to me, I'm going to buy art that I look at and go, oh, I understand what this is. It's a tree. You know, I'm not going to buy this rock. And they go, yes. Or what's the Menil collection?
The metal.
What's the
The
one?
Menil.
Menil, yeah. So I walk in there.
Thinking metal, like
I walk in Menil, okay? No offense to the artist, but I walk in there, and it looks like the set from the Planet of the Apes where they took Charlton Heston.
Right.
Like it's all concrete and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go, oh, look, he painted that black wall.
Uh-huh.
It's just purple or black, and they go, oh. I said, I could do that. I just painted the side of my house. Looks just like this.
You're thinking of minimalism, and it's I don't.
Okay, but I understand. But what I'm trying to say is, her art is, I think, the reason why you're doing well with it too is it's very bright. It creates an emotion, and I think you've got a lot of good stuff coming up with maybe a gallery, and you've been doing furniture pieces and all that. So shows and all that. She's busy.
I am busy.
So I thought she would give us, and I had a lot of, like, what the hell do you invest in when it comes to art?
I told Richard we needed to get a colorful guest, and here you
I
are.
literally did.
And I have red hair, so it's extra colorful.
She's read all over. I mean, I don't know if she's well read. I'm just saying.
She seems to be. Yeah.
So, Ann Marie, how long have you been an artist?
Since I was 3. Both parents.
Yeah, but you're using
painters.
stuff in your diaper at that point. I mean, really? 3
Literally.
years old, you've been...
I have the first fish that I drew, painted, and I actually have it at my house. I
have my first fish too. It's really just scales now. But I have my first fish.
But I mean, I drew it as a 3-year-old. But I took private lessons when I was very young, and my father was more of a builder, and he's more into architecture and mathematical.
He was a photographer too, wasn't he?
And he was a photographer just as a hobby. My mother was a portrait painter. She was a teacher by trade, and so basically art was never encouraged as a career ever. Just do it, have fun with it, put it away somewhere. And then I started seeing that I agree with Richard, like I would see people that would do a line across the canvas and it would sell for $30,000. Yeah. There's a difference between being priced at $30,000 in a gallery. Doesn't mean it's going to sell for that amount of money. But, and there's different types of art. There's decorative art, and then there's art as what I'd say, if you're going to invest in an artist or in their career, there's certain things that you would look for. Like why would all of his art sell for so much, and as opposed to someone else who is just as good? Is it marketing, or what is?
I mean, part of it's luck, right? Then it's branding, because everybody goes, "Oh, you got to look at Ann Marie's art," and then your demand, your prices have gone up.
Yeah, they have.
So
and there's this thing called price points, and so I learned this at the very, very beginning. When I used to be an actress also. So I always had a day job to fall back on, and then it's like art and then acting. And it was just too much. So I gave up the art and the acting, and I took a hiatus. And then I came back 4 years ago and decided which one do I want to focus on, because I love acting also.
You were in the gig economy before the gig economy was cool.
She's been a gigger,
I am a gigger. So so I chose art because it's just something that's in me. I can do anytime. I don't have to rely on an audition and getting, all of that other stuff. And I told my mother that, I'm going to go ahead and make a career out of this, and I'm just going to go for it. It is a struggle.
I think I heard her scream.
Probably. The scream that was heard around the world. But going back to Facebook and things like that, you're talking about the crash of Facebook, and I relied on Facebook to promote my art because it's free, basically. I have an artist page. But, and I sold a lot of pieces online, and I shipped them off to Chicago. This is one of my first collectors. I love her. She's still messages me and she remembers me when and all
Shout
of that.
out to her.
I don't think she wants me to say her name.
All right.
But,
Miss Smith.
The patron who shall remain nameless.
yeah.
But this is what I'm trying to say. So if you want to invest in an artist because you see potential, you're going to get prices that are obviously a lot better. The chances that you may just have a great piece of art that you enjoy and it may
Right.
never really go up in value.
See, and that's
Right, so it's a risk.
Yeah, that's
But at
how
least
I
you enjoy
consume
the
it.
piece, right?
Yeah.
Right,
You
so then
enjoy
it's right.
looking at it as opposed to me buying the bowling ball and the chair for $100,000 and going, what am I going to do? I'm going to bowl for chair legs? I don't understand this art. So
Well, and like
Well-
you're going to do a portrait of one of his dogs.
Right.
yeah, my little Rosie,
And,
yeah.
and that kind of art, if I were going to have my dog done,
Yeah.
that piece of art to me would be priceless.
Right.
You couldn't put a price tag on it. I wouldn't sell it for $1
Don't
million.
tell it. I haven't paid for it yet.
Well, but
The price is going up and up and up.
I know, just while sitting here.
but that is another value
Yeah.
of the art that you produce.
Right. And the artist, you know how a signature is worth a lot of money. A famous person signs their photograph or whatever, celebrity. But we go back to like price points. When you start off as an artist, at the beginning of a career, if you want to invest in a piece of art and you want to follow the artist to say, do they have longevity? Do they have a strong work ethic? Are they studying? Are they getting better? If you buy a piece,
So they're always
from
learning their craft.
right.
So you
Could
might,
they
you might get there by starting by going, oh, I really like this.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Then you get more curious maybe about the artist.
and and-
Once you see that but you got to be, to me, you got to be attracted to the art. Like I said, people
Right.
buy art just because everybody says they should buy it, and I look at it and I go, what is that?
Not that.
but it has to speak
Not
to
my
you.
dog's playing poker. What is it?
But I mean,
Felt. That's
It-
what I thought of when you talked about painting Rich's dog. I thought of the dogs playing poker.
do a Velvet Elvis.
You can
type
say
thing.
you can actually draw. You can actually do Rosie biting you.
Yes.
'Cause she bites.
Rosie's
Ann
an
Marie,
amazing
yeah.
card player.
I have
Yes, she absolutely is. And chewer.
I have a split screen type of portrait of her. So I've got her little evil, sadistic, I'm gonna bite your ankle if you come near my owner, and then the little sweet,
Angelic.
give me
Yes.
give me treats face. It's
Yeah.
cute. But I love animals, so it's very easy to make them look flattering. I have a really hard time drawing people. As for some reason, men are more difficult because faces are more angular, and I can draw children really easily. And so I went through this whole phase where I was drawing using pastels
And men are always
drawing
taking their
children.
clothes off, even if they want to be drawn naked or not. I mean, it's a
They'll
problem.
pose naked like this. And it's no problem.
Wait a minute, I don't even have anything out yet.
Maybe you could paint men as dogs.
Oh my God. I mean, I love men. I know I'm not going to do it like
Now
that.
she's going to
but-
paint me humping somebody's leg.
Well,
This is going to be great.
That's a whole nother setting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going full circle back to the price point
Yeah.
thing and investing. So as the artist grows, your actual piece that you purchase from the artist actually grows.
But how do
in
I
value.
find an artist? Like in other words, do I go to local galleries and start looking at how do I find an artist that I even would connect to?
Well, there's different types of art. Like I prefer surrealism, like Salvador Dali and Picasso and Kandinsky. Had synesthesia, which is a type of brain connection that I have.
And I will
I'm
tell you one
going
thing,
to that.
not to interrupt it, but we went to the Johnny Cash Museum, and I have a couple of Johnny Cash's pieces, his artwork. Her artwork is
wow.
very similar to his.
I've never seen his artwork.
Oh yeah, it's very
didn't even know he
close
did
to
art.
yours.
You
Yeah.
should
Oh,
come over.
crazy.
He'll show you his etchings.
Exactly.
She's seen some
You're
of my
wearing a
etchings.
Johnny Cash
I know. I
tank
love
top,
this.
though.
Yeah.
But I mean,
got
he's
this-
had that kind of look,
Yeah.
sort of similar in the art. So
I have to
but-
go check that out.
Yeah.
And he always wore black. I love black. My whole closet.
The
has
man in black, right.
Yeah, and I love it.
It
And I
absorbs
love
all the
music.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So I know I threw you
Okay.
off, but go ahead about how do you find an artist?
Okay, so it depends on actually what you want. If you want to invest in actually a piece of art, you might want to get to know who the artist is, because half of buying a piece of art is you're buying part of the artist. I'm waiting for him to throw a joke in.
No.
But
That's true.
a lot of people want to know who the artist is. The first thing you do when you look at a piece of art is you ask yourself or ask the gallery owner, who painted this. You want to know their story. And I think there's a type of romanticizing about artists and art and all of that. It's kind of like film and things like that. But To find a good artist, I would go to the open studios like the Winter Street here or Sawyer Yards.
I was going to say, we have quite a few studios, right? Here that you can...
And we have great galleries on Colquitt Street. We've got, I don't know if I could name some, but Laura Rath is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I like her too. Yeah.
I don't know her personally, but I know the type of art that she carries is really bright and bold, and the price points are very, very high. So if you have the money, you can go there, but the artists are already established. If you go to the studios, go to the open studios, check out their art, how long they've been there, you can kind of feel if an artist is kind of going, just like if you see an actor in a movie, you kind of know this person's going to be a star or whatever. And then it goes down to, what you prefer. I prefer bright, bold colors. That is just my favorite thing. I like, surrealism and abstract. And a lot of people are, some artists, like he was discussing the bowling ball and the chair thing. They'll make up a story behind the piece that they put no effort into, in my opinion, and just kind of create a story around it and create a mystique.
That's right.
And then sell it, and it's kind of like you're
we
buying
do that with
marketing.
Stocks, John.
Yeah, you're buying
build
marketing.
Story. You're buying a story.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah. And are you really going to put that in your house and have it, whatever? You know what I mean? Have it as a piece of art. Mm-hmm. And then I met a lady who has this big high-rise, beautiful high-rise off of, I think, San Felipe somewhere. She's a collector. She has all these different pieces, and she has all these unique, strange pieces of art, and it was very wonderful to go into her house and to see all of this, and she spent a lot of money on these pieces. And some of these artists have grown and taken off, and so these pieces have subsequently, now they're worth a lot of money. But yeah, so as far as finding an artist, you just do your homework, I guess, just like stocks.
You got to have a passion for it.
Yeah.
Art, it can be overall a way to diversify. Right? People collect wine. There's some people who are really good at wine. I know people have made tremendous amount of money.
Yeah, but once that bottle's gone, it's gone.
Yeah,
This art's going to hang on the wall forever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but they're using it to hold and then excel, but to your point, the arts. That's why, to your point, you got to really enjoy the art and like the art first. But then you do want to get to know the artist and figure out, well, is this collector potential, right, or is this more something else? And sometimes I think it's by accident.
So I've got a question for you as an artist. If you can explain to me the phenomenon that we're seeing, where graffiti and tagging is becoming a legitimate art form.
Yeah.
And I will give you as example the railroad trestle over I-45.
Yes. Be somebody. Yeah.
That has been painted and painted over and repainted, and now it's painted back again.
Right.
And it's iconic.
I know.
How did that happen?
I think, the first time I saw that I had a friend in the Woodlands, and I would come back 45 and I'd always see it. And I think it was just location was part of it, and what it said, be somebody or be someone. I can't remember exactly, but
now they took that. It says be Mattress Mac. Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Hi, Mattress
I wrote a whole
Mac.
piece about this. Be someone that became something, right? And then someone painted over it, and there was this whole fight. Then be someone was back.
Right.
Now it just says Mattress Mac.
Exactly. I just met with him last week.
I know, but I mean that's so funny. Like, okay, we agree on Mattress Mac, so we're not going to paint over that.
But
Exactly.
when you talk
Mattress
about
Mac.
art as a metaphor,
and
you see that trestle as you're heading south into downtown.
It's inspirational.
And the backdrop is the skyline of Houston.
Yes, that's what I was going to say, location.
You can be somebody here.
Right. It's perfect. I mean, it's...
Not while you're sitting on that road.
Yeah. Unless
Slow
you're
go.
staring. I mean, I would take pictures. I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to wreck. I have my phone and I'm snapping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first
Going
sign was
underneath.
"Don't be roadkill."
Don't be roadkill.
Painted over that.
But, so as far as the graffiti art, I mean, I think off the top of my head, Mr. D, who did the god with the spray can, big, that was one of the...
Where is that?
Somewhere, I think it's Edo, east of downtown.
Man, on Polk Avenue?
Somewhere around there.
Going into town?
Yeah.
All the buildings are painted up like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
All
the
of
city
them.
is helping to fund, I believe, part of it. It's
Yeah.
the city beautification process. And I think Houston's kind of embracing that whole urban style of art. And
I want to take the guys over there and we do some headshots in front of these
Yeah.
buildings because it's really cool stuff.
Yeah, and it's just nice to see. And some people are against it. Some people think it looks tacky,
Well,
like the
they-
mini
You're trying to
murals
say
project.
you want to ugly up the art.
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah, but I think it's great. I think that but some people are purists. They think that the graffiti should be, it has like a special secret meaning and all of that. Now we're kind of like commercializing it, and it may be a type of gentrification of graffiti, and a lot of people there's
Well,
a
that's
kind of a
what-
controversy
When I was
with
a
that.
kid in the 70s in New York, especially on the F train, I would look at the because that's all you'd use the trains for, right?
It was
I was
educational, wasn't it?
amazed. I was amazed by the creativity and the talent of some of
Yeah.
these people.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that's where it came from, like in the 70s, where
It is.
everything was graffitied in New York.
Everything.
And you could tell, like, oh my gosh, this person is like amazing.
Keith Haring was one.
Yeah,
the
that's
artist.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
And they'd leave signatures too, right?
Yeah.
They'd leave.
They leave signatures. Yeah.
And Jean-Michel Basquiat was one of my favorites, but he wasn't really a typical graffiti artist. He was more of a poet that would put his statements on the walls, and his name was Samo. He would tag it, and it was same old things, same old, same
Yeah.
old.
But you see, that's also like there's a brand behind that.
Yes.
Like Keith Haring, you always knew his figures.
Right.
He always knew his stuff like right away.
But it
Right.
amazes
and
me.
you don't know how that catches on. To me,
Yeah.
investing in art for art, unless you know it's established piece, is speculation.
Well, it's kind of hard to.
It's speculation, but at least
And
you're
risk.
investing in
Yeah.
you're investing in something you enjoy that you can look at every day. And if it goes up in value, hey, that's absolutely great.
So
Yeah.
there are
So you
some
gotta like it.
investors. Yeah, there are some professional investors, very well-known investors who buy a lot of art. Jeffrey Gunlock is one of them.
Yes.
When he left the Trust Company of the West and started his own firm, he called it Double Line after the artist Mondrian, who painted with so many, using
The
lines.
lines.
Yeah,
I
That's
did not
right.
know
Yeah.
that. That's,
Yes.
that's really intriguing.
Yeah, if you go on the Double Line website, there are all
Yeah.
these images of lines and
Cool.
And then there was a famous story where his house was burglarized in Los Angeles.
That's
and
right, that's right.
This was a crazy story. So his mother was an artist, I think, or was involved in art in some way, and he was able somehow to help the FBI or the police track down the burglars and recover the art.
Wow.
By Googling something, I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember the whole story, but it was really an odd, crazy story. So
That's
And-
very cool.
yeah.
And here's another little flip side of it. You can be an unknown artist, and then some famous person can buy your piece, and then all of a sudden,
Everybody wants it.
like
right?
who? Okay, so I know the Rockefellers bought. I can't remember off the top of my head his name. Rothko. I think it was the Rockefellers bought the first
Really?
Rothko.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden Rothko took off.
Sure.
So I don't get. I have friends. I'm probably going to get killed for this, but I don't get the whole Rothko thing. The Rothko chapel. I went to the chapel and made the good faith effort. Sat there. Everything was dark, different shades of black. I get that there were like different
Again.
hues.
Planet of the Apes, 1971.
But there were
okay?
people. Oh, you were talking about the Rothko chapel. I thought you were talking about the.
No, but that's what I was
Yeah.
actually talking about, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay,
But what
I'm in
you
a
have-
concrete tomb.
It
right now.
disturbed me. It didn't
It
make
is.
me
It
feel
wasn't.
at
It made me
peace
feel
or-
good.
yeah.
It made me feel depressed. Like I should
Yes.
do. I didn't.
But it's an intersection of art with architecture. And that's what's going on.
Now I love architecture.
I do too.
I could put a box together too. I can. I get a spiral graph, and I could do some great stuff.
But I think there's a philosophy behind
That's what
that,
it
that
is.
people are trying to
People
inject.
buy the philosophy.
There's a genuine philosophy behind certain art. Like my art basically is just I want to make things bright and colorful. When I'm in a bad state of mind, I do bright colors, and sometimes I get depressed or I suffer from anxiety sometimes. It's just I do this for myself, and if somebody else can see it, makes them happy. I have a friend that actually passed away from severe depression, and he wanted some of my pieces in his. I've known him forever, since the beginning of my career, and he had some of my pieces in his house when he was depressed, and he didn't even want me to see him in that state, and just because they were bright, colorful pieces. So his girlfriend had me come and pick up the art because he would have wanted. So now I have him back in my studio. So, getting over his passing, it just resonated with me how much art affects people.
Can be therapeutic.
Yes.
And that's what I think you have to connect. Like her art to me it's bright. It reminds me of 60s and the 70s. So things that I love, and you connect to that. But there's some people that might have go into Rothko, and it looks like this studio.
It scares me.
But the studio's more colorful,
and I don't love what we've done with the place.
I'm scared in here.
It's a Rothko studio. But
it is Rothko.
I don't. But I don't. So again, I think anybody who wants to invest in art has to start with a passion for the piece or the artist's style. Then they can dig into the history. Does this person study? Are their prices going up? Which is positive, right? So now I bought this piece for $500. It's now $3,000. Great. Hey, that's a great return if I decide to sell. Again, I don't know how many people actually turn over artwork. You might have to die before. But your
That's
artwork's
like the big joke.
But
I'm pretty prolific, and I thought, wow.
We can say we knew her when.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I wanted to go into more of a pragmatic use that you've got going on.
Okay.
And tell us about this project with one of the elementary schools in Houston.
Oh, yeah, that looks pretty
that you're
cool.
trying to upgrade the look. Is that what's going on there?
Well, yeah. So basically, someone tagged me on Facebook. Can I say her name?
No pun intended.
You could say
There goes
names.
Facebook
there's
again.
no murder. There's no. We're not like
That's why
the mob.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Well, I don't know. Some people might be sensitive about it, so I don't know. So Kim Paget, she tagged.
Oh
me
yeah,
about it.
Kim.
she was just
Yeah.
here yesterday.
I just saw her yesterday.
Yeah, and so I believe the name of the school is Betsy Ross Elementary. It was the first time I've been there, and so basically it's a beautification process of the school. It's in the third ward, and I think it's the poorest neighborhood, one of the poorest neighborhoods in Houston, and the poorest school, I'm hearing. And the school is falling apart. It was built in the 20s, so I'm told.
Oh my goodness.
And and another friend of mine who knows a lot about the city budget was a little concerned that we have a big budget here for HIC, and why are you artists volunteering? But I guess the school budget covers the basics of the building and painting the walls, but we are trying to make it beautiful so that the kids, when they come to school, they have bright things to look at. And so we're actually, here's a little plug, we're looking for donations for paint supplies, good quality brushes and things like that. We have paints and things that were donated, but it's kind of, I don't want to say not good quality, but not perfect for the project.
What are you painting? Walls or columns or what are you?
All over. We're painting the classrooms.
Okay.
We're redoing some murals if you're a good mural artist. And I'm tackling the cafeteria because I like food. I'm just kidding. But, we're putting like words of inspiration.
Okay.
There's
cool.
their mascot is the cougar, so we're putting little feet everywhere.
School board on board with this?
I'm not really sure. I know the principal is.
Okay. Well, hey, if the principal's in, it's good to go.
Yeah. I mean, we have permission to do all this.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, so we have till the middle of August to finish it. So I'm, trying to squeeze in as many days as I can
before school starts.
Yeah, and that's the goal.
That's
for
excellent.
That.
That's
And you could use help from other artists.
Yeah, other artists, and even people that aren't artists that want to donate some time to maybe like paint a wall one color, like regular.
Well, and when you're a kid, everything's more vivid, right? Everything pops.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and your taste buds.
Well, it's
because then
before
you
the
eat
cataracts
something
kick
that you
in.
ate when you were 5 and go,
Broccoli.
I like this one. No, I'm talking about stuff you really like, but with the first taste was like an orgasm, like your eyes are tearing. Like, oh my God!
Watermelon,
like,
Jolly
that's
Rancher.
good. Watermelon. I mean,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm sure with, again, this is not a good neighborhood. I'm sure the
No.
kids are under some economic distress. It's nice when they come to school and they see all these bright colors and all that
Right.
really can help them.
What's
So
the
that was a
best
nice
way to-
idea. Really
what's
cool
the best
idea.
way to link up with you to, if folks want to get involved that are watching this video?
Just contact me via Facebook would be best. You can message me, Ann Marie Vancas, or you can go to my website, annmarievancas.com, and send me an email, and I will get back with you. And
It's VANCAS.
yes,
VANCAS.
Yes, Croatian name.
Croatian Texan.
Yes,
She's from Croatia, Texas. Yeah.
Croatia, Texas.
It's right near Marfa. Right there.
Paris, Texas. We
Yeah.
have a Paris too.
We do. and a new London.
That's true. We're kind of like a little Europe.
Oh, yeah. There's a Berlin.
That's true. There is. Where's the other ones? Anyway.
Well, that's good. I think that's a great project.
Okay, so
by
much
the
for
way.
our geography
Yeah.
lesson for today.
I also think that also helps the artist's stature in the community,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And that also might increase
Yeah.
prices.
Yeah.
Because of the fact is you're building this brand, and I think that's what you buy with the artist. But again, I need to be repetitive, but I gotta like what I'm buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I'm
you
not
gotta like
buying the
artist.
bowling ball and the chair. I'm not doing it.
So is there an ongoing theme? Is there any continuity in this thing, or is it like, hey, do this on this wall and do that on that wall?
Well, at first you said that we could just kind of do our own thing, but it became, I think, a little bit more specific, like
More thematic based
Right.
on where you were.
the
Yeah.
mascot is a cougar, but we couldn't do it exactly like the Houston Cougars, the college, because University of Houston, because
I think
then
the mascot
they
of
have their
Houston
own,
is a cougar.
It is.
I see
Right.
it with Mastros
yeah.
and Stake 48. So.
So basically, yeah. So
Different
it's
kind of cougar. Yeah.
so the theme is, it's children, so it's an elementary school. So basically, you just want to keep it simple and
Yes.
bright, and things
Very
that they
nice.
could see, and I think that
Are you doing any kind of food related stuff in the cafeteria, or are you just doing paw prints? What are you doing in the cafeteria?
I'm doing inspirational words. Like I
words.
got the word
Oh, cool.
love, and I have little hearts and things
Aw.
like on the first column, and I'm just gonna, there's the fire alarm, so I had to put a flame underneath it. But some people are good at murals, and they're gonna do like a big mural on the side of the hallway, and then I wanted to go in and do a bunch of bold, crazy, abstract, bright colors, but I think they kind of put the kibosh on that. Because I could just really make it look Peter Max.
Well, you
but
could have just done one whole wall with
Yeah.
kibosh.
I think I'm going to go ahead and see if I can do that. But
Then you could put the kibosh on there.
yeah. But they're a little bit conservative when it comes to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
just basically simple things for kids.
Have you seen the artist that takes like gas meters and traffic signal boxes and
and they
paints
color
them?
and they paint
Oh, the
them.
mini murals project.
They're Montrose.
But this
too.
guy makes like a gas meter look like somebody doing something.
Oh, Banksy.
Oh.
Are you thinking about in Houston or in general?
I don't know.
It might be Banksy.
Maybe, but I
is it-
remember a gas meter that looked like the guy was an organ grinder.
That's Banksy,
Okay.
probably. He's from the UK.
That's right, because I've seen his
Yeah.
art,
Yeah.
and he had one where it was a bench, but it was teeth
Yeah.
Yeah.
for this other, for a
And there was
mural.
a mailbox that he painted,
yes.
and it was an electric meter that he painted, and the glass bowls over the electric meters, he painted them to be the faces of watches, and this guy's opening this giant raincoat, and all these meters are there,
see,
and
that's
it's just
so
watches.
cool, yeah.
It's hysterical.
Now,
Well, are
I-
you saying that's in Houston, or you mean you just seen it?
I don't know where I saw it.
Okay.
But I've seen some of these in Houston, and they do paint the boxes. Then there was some, from what I remember, that some residents were really upset about it, and I couldn't understand why.
They have no sense of humor.
Well, it's
Upset
not even
about the
that. It
boxes?
just looks better than a plain steel box.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not graffiti.
Right.
It's
Right.
actual. It looks really good.
Yeah, I like the painted signal boxes I've seen around town.
Yeah, I do
That's
too.
cool.
That's a good part. So the city commissioned some artists to do that, or there's a group that kind of got together and they did an artist call, and a bunch of different artists did some really amazing art on them, and I think it looks great. Some people think it looks tacky because you're actually bringing an eyesore out, making it more visible.
Like
but
we
they
don't have
think-
any other eyes
Yeah.
out
They
there.
think it's an eyesore. It's
How
just a
about the
box.
bunion removal billboard?
That's great.
That's an eyesore.
Or the billboard that says, "I give you sexy teeth."
with no
I've
teeth.
seen that. Yeah, so what is
Or
that?
are you fat? Are you?
Or the tummy tuck one.
Goodness
God.
Oh,
gracious.
my
Some of the
goodness,
billboards
that's
around here
awful.
frighten me.
They're going to
Yeah.
cause people to have a wreck. Probably.
Lady Bird Johnson is spinning in her grave.
Why, she had a billboard?
No, Lady Bird Johnson
Oh, was the
the
beautification?
beautification thing back
Oh,
in the
she
70s,
would-
I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
It would kill her. It
Oh,
would-
yeah.
There's a lot of urban blight here. The nice thing is you have these colors on these boxes or paint. It's nice. It's just
So
nice to see.
I've got a project for you next.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Get all the artists in town, and I want you to attack I-45 North between the Beltway and 610.
Attack
Oh, Lord.
the billboards
It's
or
the
what?
most,
No,
general
it-
landscape.
I mean, they
It's
could
the
film
most-
The Walking Dead in
It's
that span.
awful.
Well, fill me in. Is old buildings?
Well, just
or-
take a drive.
Oh, no,
okay.
it's...
Yeah, it's
Really late at
it's
night, like 2 in the
it's
morning?
like
No.
roach motels and used car lots.
It's just a mess.
And wannabe Mattress Max.
Oh,
That kind
wow.
of stuff. I mean, Mattress Max place is probably the best looking.
It is. It is.
along the
Yeah.
entire place. And there's a
That's
heavy-
good. He's got a big fence
I was
around
just
it,
there.
'cause-
That's
Yeah.
right. Because I was just.
But
at
that
his
whole
place.
area there,
Yeah.
Oh,
what
yeah.
a mess.
I mean,
Yeah.
they really do need to.
And they
go
had
to
some really
steamroll it.
horrible hotels and apartments that burned down over there, but
Yeah.
but it's really
No
urban
town
blight.
motels.
Yeah,
Well, and the problem is that's the first thing people see coming in from Bush Airport.
Yeah.
right. And they go,
You know?
oh.
And then it
Ah.
says be somebody.
No, I don't
Right
think
as
so.
you go past it.
Right.
Well, now it says Mattress Mac, so that's cool.
Be Mattress Mac.
So that's your next project, please.
Okay, I'll try to
We
do
know
that.
people at City Hall. We can get you in.
After Rosie, okay? Gotta get
Yeah,
my
well,
I'm
Rosie.
gonna get Rosie. I'm
Yeah.
still working on Rosie. She's almost done though.
Do you take commissions to do that, or is this just
To
a
do-
personal favor for
No,
Mr.
I do
Rosso?
take commissions. Commissions are difficult because you have to do sometimes 4 and 5 and 6 pieces
Really?
to make the client happy. Because a lot of times they'll say, "I don't like this piece. I want something else. I want something else," and then you
Well,
end
that's
up
their
doing
fault. Yeah, then they have to pay. I mean, if they don't
several
want.
pieces. Yeah.
This is my vision, okay?
Yeah.
Makes you appreciate your digital phone.
She
huh?
made
Yeah.
my Rosie look a lot friendlier than she is.
Just because I love dogs, so that just comes through. I can't
I
make a
wish
dog.
my Rosie was that friendly with that face.
Yeah,
Instead
I
of that-
met Rosie, so I know how
How
she
old is Rosie?
She's timeless.
They live forever. That's the
she's,
other thing about straws.
He gives her Botox
8.
and things
She's
like
about
that.
8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
Sophie's going to be 12.
I know, you're Sophie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a Chihuahua?
3-pound pit Yorkie.
Oh my gosh! Well, little
Spoiled-
dogs live a long time.
Spoiled as heck.
Oh, Yorkies are adorable. Full of personality.
She is. So we were talking about your employment and your avocation and what you do. And I made the comment that you were working in the gig economy before the gig economy was cool.
Yeah, I didn't
She
even know
was.
what a gig economy was.
Yeah,
until
I
I
had
saw
to
it.
Well, you know,
explain
like a
that to her.
driving Uber or.
And there was a story that Richard came up
Oh no!
about it. There's an Uber scam going on.
Oh yeah. What's
What is that, Richard?
Well, according to El Nuevo Herald in Miami.
El Nuevo
El
Herald?
Nuevo in Florida. Several customers claim unscrupulous drivers have falsely accused them of puking inside their Uber vehicle.
That's
So
strange.
then making the riders responsible for bogus cleanup charges.
Is that fake news or is that?
That-
No, it's a real
Yeah, well,
story.
in some ways it is. So what happens is, and these people find out, they go like, wait a minute, my credit card was just charged.
Oh, so they don't know about it until after they get the charge on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So where is it in the
And
contract that you can actually charge somebody for vomit?
It's in the
cleanup?
fine print of the carriage.
Well, listen, you
license.
you
Wow.
vomited my car. I got a cleanup fee.
Yeah.
Right, and then people go, wait
like
a minute,
$120
I didn't,
bucks, isn't it?
150, 80 to 150
Yikes.
bucks ago. I didn't vomit in your car. And it says that they've been doing this for a very long time. Now, we'll tell you, they put it on people's credit cards.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, please
Check your statement.
check your statements.
Yeah.
I understand you don't even get statements anymore because you go the electronic route.
Yeah.
But you have to go into the site and check your
Right.
statements. But so people have finally been finding this, and then what happens is they're having a very difficult time getting the money back
Because it's too
from
far
Uber,
gone.
saying, "Wait a minute, I didn't vomit in any car." So
Jarate, is this true, my friend? She's an Uber driver. I'm calling you out, girlfriend.
Wow.
She's in Houston. No, I'm not saying you do this, but
know
have
what?
you heard of this?
You know what's going to happen is they're going to do this to an attorney. He's going to take them to court and sue their pants off. He's going to want DNA
here's what-
samples.
so you
Prove it
drive
was
Uber.
mine.
So you drive
Exactly.
Uber, you pick up your customer, you deliver to their destination, and then as the driver, I report to Uber that hey, this individual upchucked in my car.
Yeah.
So
Right.
then the drivers provide the company pictures of the mess, and then the company
Photoshops.
hits the passenger with a large cleanup bill.
Well, no, just a can of applesauce will do it.
Yeah.
They could
DNA
probably show the same
test.
picture over and over and over
Sure,
again.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Who's going to know?
Just do a DNA test. They have to take a DNA sample. There you go. If you're going to charge someone $150, you better get your little vial or whatever
Yeah.
and put it on a
The perils of the gig economy.
you know, put it on a little slide and in a Ziploc baggie, and then send it into Uber and have the
but I guess
president
that's
of
the
Uber.
way. I mean, to really increase your fees.
I don't know.
I wonder what else you can
It
get
doesn't
people.
doesn't pass the sniff test.
Isn't that like putting the fly in the soup in the restaurant?
Yeah, it
to
is.
get
The
your
same
meal?
thing.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
the
I mean?
hair.
To get the free meal.
Right,
yeah.
to get the meal.
Exactly.
Oh, there's people that go into restaurants and try to figure out a way to scam them for the free meal.
Yeah.
Oh, look what I got in my food. you know?
Exactly. I found a hair in my
That's
food.
the hobby, you know.
I found a hair in my food one time, but I didn't make a big deal because it was my own hair.
Well,
But
the soup was
anyway.
scalding, and I figured, hey, and it's okay now.
Or like the coffee thing, the McDonald's.
And Brent will do anything to get hair.
Like the
So-
spilling of the coffee, the McDonald's lawsuit. I mean, I was
Obviously, it wasn't
against
mine.
I think that's what started it.
the McDonald's
The
coffee
McDonald's
thing.
hot
Yeah.
coffee lawsuit. Isn't that the
Yeah,
one that started
McDonald's
the whole?
hot. I think you're right. And I think we're out of time.
It's too bad.
Ann Marie,
That went fast.
thank you so much for coming
Thank
by.
you.
Yes, thank you. It was
Love
very
to have
good.
you back. Bring your paint and brushes.
I will.
Help us out in here.
Yeah, we want to go less Rothko.
Thanks for watching us, everybody. You can check us out on YouTube a little bit later this afternoon. We'll edit this down and post it for you, and you can find it also on realinvestmentadvice.com. For Richard, John, and Ann Marie, I'm Brent Clanton. Have a nice weekend. Thanks for watching.